live on YouTube. We obviously live on Twitter. I want to thank everybody for pulling up to the TCK Web3 News Roundtable, episode number 64. So, like we do every Sunday, we set it off at 4:20, wait for the room to fill up, play some vibes, let the vibe play out, And yeah, man, wait for the room to fill up. And we got our co-host NFTia. She's gonna be dropping in on us soon, very shortly. So we had a great weekend. So we're gonna set it off talking about what we did this weekend. But you already know how we do. Always gotta ask my co-host, Just Cheeze. Just Cheeze, man. How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? I heard you had a great weekend. Heard your weekend was pretty lit, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yesterday we were out. We were out at the bookstore gallery, right? Future location we're gonna activate at. So we're just over there talking to the owner of the bookstore gallery, figuring out what we can be able to do here specifically for Atlanta Tech Week. But that's not the only thing that we're looking to activate. So I was with RC for RC and I went to the Currency concert on Friday. But throughout that entire time, we were talking about what we could be doing for Atlanta Tech Week. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I gotta ask you, how was that Currency concert? How was it? Was it lit? Was it 420'd out? How was it?
It was interesting. I was telling RC I haven't been to a concert in I don't really leave the house, so I haven't been to a concert. I don't like standing up around a bunch of random people. I don't know what can happen sometimes, so I just don't go to concerts anymore. But so I went to this concert, and it was good. I forgot that like artists have openers, right? So I was there, and I was a little anxious at first because the show started at 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh no, and RC and I didn't live until like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh shit, we're gonna be late. We're not gonna get to see Currency, and wait. He still didn't come on until 11. Right, so you got there. It was like 5 or 6 people. But I like the setup because, he did it in a way where it was like almost like the Apollos, where he was the headliner, but he had people from the surrounding area. So a lot of Atlanta artists that opened up for him. So it was like a showcase. It was almost like a showcase. So. And then the ladies there were the ladies that traveled with him and pretty much organized the showcase. So they were basically moderating the entire time and highlighting who we have next. What's the team? Highlighting who we have next up on the stage, and so it was very much like a showcase leading up until Currency.
That was dope.
And then he came out with his vibe. He came out with his band, and he's just as funny, witty as he is as he is online. So it was just good to see that in person. Like all right, that's why I fuck with Currency.
That's dope. Yeah. It sounded like it was a pretty lit concert, man. It sounded like it was a pretty lit concert.
Yeah.
So that's super dope, man. And I never had the opportunity to see Currency. Eventually, I'm gonna catch up with him. I was busy this weekend. I had to actually catch up on some sleep. I had a long week, and because I already knew Saturday was gonna be a day for me, so I ended up going to this dope art show that Dr. Dax. He's a big Atlanta graffiti artist. He tagged up pretty much all across the U.S. Whether it was trains, whether it was Cali. He got up, and he's been drawing for like. Since a teenager, since a youth. So he had some of his old work displayed. He had old photos he did with the Dungeon family. So he really locked in with the whole Dungeon family, So that was dope to see. and just see his progression of his art. And on top of that, I bought some dope merch too. He had some fly drip, man. He had a Dr. Dax, graffitied up T-shirt that I was able to cop. So that was pretty dope. And it was at the ABV Gallery, so there was a lot of eclectic people in there, and I really enjoyed myself. I really, really enjoyed myself. I had a good time in there. You know what I'm saying? And you know how I do when I go to my art shows. I like to do my little microdosing when I go to the art shows. So it enhances the experience. And they played one of my favorite songs of all time. They played, if y'all know what house music is, if y'all familiar with house music, one of the most famous songs is Hot Music by Soho. Man, I was in the shop, I was in the merch shop looking at stuff. I was like, I know they not playing, because they were playing mad EDM stuff. So, and they was playing like a lot of 80s hip hop, so that was dope. But when I first heard the intro, I was like, I know they not about to play one of my favorite house songs. So instantly, I was the only person dancing. I ain't care. And then I just saw, I inspired the Asian dude to get busy out there. So, and the DJ, he gave me props because he knew he was playing some shit. And everybody, honestly, a lot of people didn't know that vibe. But even if they did, they probably didn't know how to step to it. You know what I mean? So, but man, I had a great time, man. Just two-step into one of my favorite house music songs. I had my ABC, Web3 DJs sweater on, so I had my graffiti inspired merch on in a dope art space with graffiti art. So it was all of my elements, man. It was the music, it was the visual art, it was the graffiti, it was the DJ, so all of my elements was clicking. And plus I had on a graffitied out Web3 shirt, so I was able to incorporate not only just the elements of hip hop, I was able to incorporate Web3 too. So it was super dope. And big up to Greg Mike. That was his gallery. He had some dope art up in there too as well. He actually released some NFT cans. I think it was like 2022. And they were like virtual 3D cans. And you can just earn those. And, I didn't get a chance to kick it with him. I wanted to ask in detail, did he have any utility tied in with his NFTs? But man, I had a dope vibe last night, just being around my graffiti people, and I was able to tag somebody's book. I should have told them to record me tagging the book, but it was like asking for my autograph. But it was a legendary graffiti artist in Atlanta. He was having all of the graffiti artists tag up his book, so I just tagged it up right quick. So it was, man, I can't even explain the feeling, man. It was a priceless emotion that I felt last night, just being in my element, And I saw, I had some admirers, because there was some people that wasn't. There were people I could say from the outside of the culture trying to tap in and understanding what this whole vibe was, and I had to school them on the art, on the graffiti, show them how to read it, So I had a good time, man. So yeah, and you know who we got? We got NFTia in the building.
NFTia.
She pulled up.
Stacks.
We got to ask her how her weekend went, and after that, we gotta tell her to promote that sweet slush event that's popping next weekend. And Tia, was good. How you been? How was your weekend?
Oh man, today it was just such a. I mean, this weekend was such a a mundane weekend, honestly. Outside of Friday, what we did with the kids, which is super dope. It was a smaller group. It was our smallest group of kids. But it's amazing no matter how many kids we're in front of. The impact is always super meaningful. And another big thing about those kids is I got in a car and I'm riding home and I'm talking to Larry, and that was his first time doing a kids event, and he just kept smiling. And I'm like, it's like that, ain't it? It's so edifying. You leave here full as ever. It's a fullness that you can't even describe. So big up to Sarita, A1 Digital, their whole team for all that they do in the community and putting these events together, because I feel like we leave with more than the kids at the end of the day with doing these events. So that's pretty much it.
That's super dope, super dope. So how was the reception from the kids that pulled up, and what was the class ranges from what? Because I know it was middle school to high school. Do you know the ages and the classes they
Yeah,
had?
so I think like the youngest kid, if I had to put a finger on it, he was about 12 or 13, all the way to 17. What would you say, Cheese? About the same age?
Uh, uh, it was middle school and high school, and when we took a survey, the kids said that they were ranging from 11 up until 18. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it was close.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know we. So it was a wide variety of kids. Very few, but they range from all different ages. But I feel like they were receptive to a lot of the information. So I think some of it was over some of their head, but then obviously, like when we're just experiencing this space, a lot of it is over our head. So we double back, triple back, and even quadruple back, and sometimes even beyond that. So bar.
Yeah, bars.
But no, overall experience was super dope. It was super dope. The highlight for me, like one of the young girls who did Joe's challenge, she created, like that art was so fire that she created. Like, I'm like, damn, that really looked like a real NFT collection to me. So it's just like, I mean, and that was just in a couple minutes seeing what these kids are capable of doing. And when they get their hands on this technology and really, really grab it, it's going to be scary, man. So that was my highlight.
That's super dope. Big up to everybody who participated. You want to shout them out right quick? Everybody who participated. You know, we got Sharita, A1 Digital. Who else was out there?
We had Karima, her platform. We finally got to dive into what Genie Dow was.
Okay.
She really has the potential to revolutionize the way that we educate our kids.
Mm-hmm.
It felt as revolutionary as what we seen in Denver in terms of approach to education. So big ups to Karima for your vision and what you're creating with Genie Dow. We had Larry Moore, A1 Digital. We had Chris from Project Pi. We had who else? Who am I missing?
We had Trav.
Trav with Dap Hub, and we also had what's his name? Barry from last
yes.
week. Barry from Gamers Pay Gamers. He came in. He spoke about his platform as well. So yeah, I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, big up to everybody who came through, just dedicated their time, their experience, their education, wisdom in this space. It's important, man, that we give back to the youth and the community, man. So big up to everybody who participated. Big up to ABC. Big up to A1 Digital. Yeah, and yo, I know there's a sweet event. You got the Walrus shirt on right now, so you know Walrus took a dip. It's a good point to buy right now. It's about like 55 cents. But yo, what's up with that event next week? I know it's gonna be at ABC. I know it's gonna be popping. You want to talk to the people about that?
Definitely. So, first of all, y'all know when we throw an event, it's lit. It's not an event. It's more of a litiation.
That's right.
You know, I gotta work to make it not a litiation sometimes because we are the littest community in Web3.
You
period, hands down. You know, so you where the whore, where the siren at? Where the siren at?
Oh wait, hold on. Just keep talking. I'm gonna pull up the sound effects too. Right there.
So y'all know we got the littest community in all of Web3. So let's just keep it there, you know. And this one is not meant to be anything less. Yes, we're gonna have real IRL interactions via Skylark. Bloop, bloop.
That's right.
And we're gonna have quests where we get to engage with the new Sui Slush wallet. Hence the reason why we're calling it Slushy. Hence the reason for the name because of the new Slush wallet. Mm-hmm. So that's one big feature. The time is from 7 to 11.
7 to 11.
Obviously,
like
lining up with the slush theme. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's good.
We're going to be giving away free Sui. So you get a chance to not only win free merch and free prizes, but you also going to be able to receive some free Sui for the first 50 people there. And that free Sui is going to go to interacting with the new Slush wallet. So we're going to have literally quests that are like created for you to interact with the new Slush wallet. via Skylark. We're going to be having those gamified quests. And much, much more. Obviously, an unlimited adult slush bar. Food, refreshments, music, good time. But it's gonna be a fun learning experience where we really get to dive into how cool it is to interact on the Sui network. So come on out. It's next Friday, the 9th. Again, from 7 to 9. Again, 7 to 11, excuse me. From 7 to 11, just like the store where you go get those iconic slushies. And it's going to be another iconic Web3, Atlanta blockchain, Skylark, Sui takeover.
You already know. Let's go. You know. So yeah, man. Yes, sir. We getting it popping in here, man. So, so that's Friday. Yo, Cheeze, you got the flyer? You want to post the flyer? Go ahead and post the flyer to the people.
Yeah, we posted.
I got some information in the email that people can RSVP to the event. So make sure y'all pull up. Now, Tia, is it free so people can get in for free?
It's definitely free.
Okay.
But whenever you give me your time, it's not free. But I promise you, the reward for giving your time and coming here and learning, experiencing this is going to be well worth your while. So
pull up to ABC, y'all, next Friday. We got it popping. You can learn about what's going on in the Sui ecosystem because, man, they are cooking.
I just wanted to say one more thing.
Go ahead, NFTia.
Listen. And it's not because I'm shilling Sui. Like, I was really in Sui before I ever got a bag from doing anything with Sui, right?
That's a fact. She's the first person I ever heard talk about getting on the Sui ecosystem for real.
Like, I was, y'all need to get Walrus they about to do this, they about to do that. Like, I'm sweating Sui, right? So, but everybody know that they just had Token 2049 Dubai. And right after that, they had Basecamp Sui over the weekend in Dubai. They dropped so much alpha over that time. It's utterly ridiculous. Like, we already knew that Sui was already integrating with Babylon, but they're doing the integration with Babylon, but then they're also doing the integration with Stacks. I can finally talk about it.
Oh wow!
And they're going to be settling. The settlement layer is going for Sui. Stacks is going to be on Sui.
Wow.
So they're really, really going hard after that Bitcoin narrative and getting Bitcoiners and those Bitcoin maxis to see the value of bridging over to Sui and staking and utilizing the Sui network to store your Bitcoin and stake your Bitcoin for rewards. So be on the lookout for my next event because we will be having a Bitcoin Sui event. And then there's just so much stuff. The biggest thing that people are excited about is they just released their physical gaming device. And they said that all these gaming devices will be out by September. They're going to start actually sending them out by June, I want to say. And they should all, if you order one, you should have yours at the latest September. Then it also said that they're also working on the second version of the Sui Play system. And on top of that, on the 3rd, which was yesterday, they celebrated their 2nd birthday.
Hold on, we gotta get some more air horns. For them, man. You heard? Big up the Sui for their 2nd birthday.
2 years.
They cooking up something serious.
And that's just like the tip of the iceberg. I would have to be here all day, whether we're talking about inflows onto exchange traded products. Like, Solana is negative and Sui is like 20-30 million plus a week. So it's just like they are cooking at every turn. So I'm just happy to be a part of this ecosystem.
Let me add something to that.
Yes, sir.
Because, Skylark may be on Sui.
Okay. It's alpha.
Can't deny or confirm that, but you can vibe code on Sui.
Really?
Yeah.
That's lit.
I was just going around last night. I found I was on the dev docs, and then there's the Sweet AI. So I was just talking to Sweet AI. I was like, how can I build a solution that would do X, Y, Z? And then it gave me the docs that I should read from its docs. And then it said you can also try this out in what's known as Move Studio.
Wow.
So Move Studio is basically their IDE, but it's AI agentic IDE. So you can basically, instead of having to go off and try and build it on a separate tool or in a different IDE space, they have a replit. They have their own replit.
That's crazy.
So you can just,
That's crazy.
You can just. So I'm gonna try this out because if I can vibe code some stuff on Sweet,
That'll be lit.
yeah.
Like every dev that I know personally is either wanting to pivot, looking to pivot, or actively pivoting to Sweet. And I don't know how long you've been in this space, but they say, follow the devs, you follow the money.
That's right, man. Yo, we cooking today. We set it off with Sweet, and I already know. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Like I said earlier, T was the first person I know that was really in the Sweet ecosystem, not just as an investor, but really just on that chain, just seeing how it operates. So let's big them up. We got some fly Sweet drip directly from Tia, So we gotta big them up. And we're gonna roll into these stories. Let's go right into the Sweet stories. It don't even make no sense because she already had segued. She segued into two things. When we talking about bridging, all right, there's some NFTs that's bridging on to Sweet now. And there's a stable coin coming to that device, that gaming device. So which one y'all want to talk about first? You want to talk about the NFT collection going, or you want to talk about the stable coin on Sweet Play?
Either. It don't even matter.
All right, let's set it off with the Sweet Play. Let's talk about that. All right, so Playtron has announced Game Dollar, a gaming-focused stablecoin launching on the Sweet blockchain in quarter 2025, designed to power seamless payments within its up-and-coming handheld device, the Sweet Play 0x1. Revealed at Sweet Basecamp in Dubai, Game Dollar will be backed by short-term U.S. treasuries. Unlike traditional stablecoins, it's tailored specifically for gaming and will be integrated into Game OS, Playtron's links-based system, with a built-in wallet for in-game transactions. Okay, and the stablecoin may also support programmable features. So I thought this was super dope, and I think this is going to set precedents for just the Web3 gaming hardware, all these devices, whether it's the PS5, whether it's the Xbox, or your PC, whatever you choose to game on. Think about this: if there's stable coins in these video games that you guys are playing, now you have something to swap out for your in-game asset, your collectible, your skin, your gun, your armor, whatever you collect in that game. You can now swap it out with this stable coin. So they setting it up. So I love this. I thought this was phenomenal when I read it. And I got to hear y'all thoughts on this because y'all already know Sweet's beating PlayStation and Xbox to the stable coin game. That's crazy to me. So they setting it off with Web3 gaming. NFTia and Just Cheeze, what's your thoughts?
You want to go first or me?
Sure, I can go first. So I'm gonna take a contrary view. Why I like stablecoins, I think the slippery slope is gonna happen when every ecosystem has a stablecoin, right? Mm-hmm. While it's good for stability, it can create an effect of like trapping you within the wall garden effect again. Because if there's no way to off ramp from Game Dollar back to a more commonly used USDC, mm-hmm. then you really just have this stable asset locked up in the SUI ecosystem that you can't really take out, right? So from that perspective, I see the value, but it doesn't really accomplish the full solution for people who want to be able to earn some type of stable value out of their engage or their at time spent on the device. right? So I think it helps the ecosystem of the app maintain stability. The fact that it's backed by, bonds, and so it has some actual backing to it, right? But I think we'll have to see what happens around the long term economics of the platform that allows for the users to do more than just hold that game dollar inside the system, right? Maybe they do plan on creating some uh, uh, liquidity pools, where people can off ramp from game dollar to USDC, right? And that would be great. But this is the future of every system, or every ecosystem being able to become its own bank.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a lot like Tether to me. I mean, if we can call Tether a dollar, have at it. To me, it's fair game once Tether once the clause of regulation came off of Tether's back. I feel like it opened up the floodgate for all of this. So we'll see where it goes. But how I feel about this situation is how I've always felt about Web3. I think once in-game, real in-game assets are able to be earned, and there's where you can actually transfer those, a lot like what Cheeze just said, when you're able to transfer those in-game assets and bridge them over to whether it is fiat, whether it's other crypto products, that's when that true value is going to come. And it looks like this is what Sui is after, and they understand that too. So I'm all for it. I think last week we were talking. I said I can't wait till you see 8-year-olds buying their parents' houses because of what they're doing in these games. I'm excited to see what happened with gaming as it relates to play to earn models and things of that nature, because I feel like this is what we've been waiting for. We've been talking about it for, I know I've been hearing people talk about it for over 7-8 years in this space. To see it actually come into fruition, and then to see it happening on the Sui network, and they're actually making it happen. I mean, a lot of platforms have tried, but few have gotten this close to actually making it happen. So big ups.
I'll say this too. The other way to think about it too is the we're putting our dollar to we're putting the treasuries to more usage, like different use cases. Now, even though you can't move the currency out of the game yet, you now have an ecosystem of games that are leveraging this, that is able to have their in-game currencies backed by treasuries, right? So it creates opportunity. So like, I make the comparison sometimes to people, like, in the future, all the Swifties are gonna do business with the Swifties, right? So like Taylor Swift gang, right? If we all are of some common thread, right, some common layer, then we can do business. So, and if the business we're gonna do, or the value we're gonna exchange, is backed by something like, in this case, the treasury bonds that have some stability there, then it allows for that transfer of value to actually happen without falling apart.
That's right.
So even though it may not come out of the system, it may serve the system well for the gamers that actually care about transacting value with other gamers.
Some good points. And those some great concerns too. Now, they didn't get into details if you would be able to swap it out with other stable coins or any other cryptocurrency. So we will monitor the situation. And they also didn't confirm any game titles. So they might have original IP they create. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of Web3 games have been reaching into the retro games as far as that IP. So, there's a few ways they can go with it, or they can go with the more popular titles. So, yeah, but I appreciate both my co-hosts' thoughts and comments on that. All right. So, let's talk about the second thing we got going on, right? I saw this. I thought this was super dope. Have y'all heard of Claynosaurs? That's an NFT project on Solana. Y'all heard of Claynosaurs? All right, so Claynosaurs expands from Solana to Sui with the new NFTs in an upcoming game. All right, so Claynosaurs is a popular Solana-based NFT entertainment brand, and they're expanded into the Sui blockchain to launch new digital collectibles, games, and interactive experiences. Announced at Sui Base Camp during Token 2049, the move is not a migration, but a multi-chain strategy keeping Genesis NFTs on Solana while debuting expansion projects on Sui. This includes a new achievement system and up-and-coming Popkins drop. All right, so that's a new 25,000 character collection tied to the theme booster packs, offering shop perks and in-game cosmetics. Backed by the Walrus Protocol. Tia got the Walrus shirt on right now, so if y'all can see us live on Instagram and YouTube, she got the Walrus Protocol shirt on. All right, so it's designed to appeal to both Web3 veterans and mainstream gamers. Okay, and Claynosaurs will also launch a mobile game later in 2025 with seamless blockchain integration and future support on what? The Sui Play 0x1 device. That's the handheld gaming device we was just talking about. So this is, I guess, the unofficial announcement of one of the first brands or IPs to be launched on this gaming device. And I think if they take a page out of Solana's book, Solana, they had a phone and they airdrop people Bonk. That's why Bonk is in the top 100 right now as far as a meme coin, because that airdrop was so successful with that device. What's your thoughts? Do y'all think the people who get this handheld device, do you think they'll get airdrop some Sui? Do you think they'll get airdrop some Walrus or maybe like a Sui meme coin? Do you think that's a possibility, or I think they're just gonna launch the device and you're just gonna have to pay for those games? What's your thoughts on that?
So I do think that, and I can't confirm it, but I do think that these will come with some airdrops. I think that was already said before, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Cheese? Yeah. So there will be some airdrops. I will say that the Sui meme ecosystem, and I think this is an advantage to Sui, that their meme ecosystem did not do like Solana, because at the time when the meme culture was going crazy, that was all Solana, but it's since it's backfired and Solana has tanked, and it's been adverse. It's had an adverse reaction, the Solana ecosystem. So I'm happy that the meme culture did not like take well to the Sui ecosystem. It confirms just how much real utility is being built versus BS. Not to call Solana BS, because if you're building in Web3, it's hard enough. But what I am saying is that like the identity of the chains are polar opposites now because of it.
Good point.
Yeah. Then the second thing I want to say is, I don't know if you not to be sharing any other news. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, we talked about that Thursday at ABC, but we can bring that up again.
No, I just wanted to. Oh yeah, we did. We did. And so I wanted to say this because once you see Pudgy Penguin wanting to utilize Walrus, and you're seeing how do you pronounce it? The source, the
Claynosaurs.
Claynosaurs.
NFT.
NFT project wanting to utilize Walrus, and so it's speaking values to the importance of the security of Walrus, as well as.
Don't mean to cut you off. You want to tell the people what Walrus is?
It's a decentralized storage. It's a decentralized storage product similar to AWS. I don't want to go deep down the rabbit hole, but like I said last Thursday, I think one of the big features that Walrus is providing, not only just decentralized storage, but one of the key features is that like the settlement, like when the transaction goes through, it's not like it's for the first time. And I hope I'm not butchering this because my technical talk is not always as sharp as Cheese's. But during the settlement piece of the transaction on Walrus, it's already an NFT versus being an NFT and then being stored on a network. It's the transactions are don't. Am I saying it correctly?
What are you trying to say?
So the way that Walrus systematically works differently versus AWS. Versus AWS, it stores NFTs, but the transactions represent an NFT on Walrus, so to speak. Or
Yeah. It's
right?
not, it has a parent-child relationship, so it doesn't necessarily hold the NFT. It just becomes
A link.
it becomes a folder by which you can identify where that NFT
gotcha.
is.
It's a folder. Gotcha.
So the folder itself is also an NFT. So that comes down to the Move architecture that they utilize. So everything is an object based, basically.
Yeah, there we go. Object based. Okay, there we go. Okay. You know, my technical
That's why we got
explanation,
cheese.
you
That's
know
why
what
we
I'm
got
saying? It's
cheese.
not as sharp as Cheese's. I understood it, but how do I verbally express it is two different things. But I say that all that to say this. Like with the red stuff and having an extra security layer on a back end of those transactions, and as well as the significant difference in how things are stored, I think it's going to attract more NFT projects. So you see Pudgy, and Pudgy's supposed to launch their own project here soon, which is, I mean, they've already launched their own project, which is, it's interesting whether they'll completely switch everything from an EVM base to a SWI base, or will they use like a movement, which is half EVM, half move. So I'm curious. I'm curious about what happened, and I'm curious about what Doodles will do as well with all of this. So
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. For me, I'm just watching what happens with some of these projects. I do see. I am taking a look at the architecture, the development docs that I mentioned earlier, seeing what I can get out of, trying to build something on SWI. But as I mentioned earlier, they have their own IDE, they have their own integrated development environment, so people can start building immediately, and if it's driven by AI, they can push out value quicker. So I'm going to try it out and see what happens there. But at the end of the day, I think Tia captured it. They have like even the fact that everything is like an object, right, makes it similar to what developers from like a Web2 context have to deal with. And on EVM, everything is account based, so you have a single primitive that you have to work everything around. It's like accounts and contracts versus define the object, which is like in the case of even like Walrus, you can define what is a folder and what is an asset of that folder, and then you can manage the terms and conditions around that, and then you can do the same thing, with what seal that's coming, right? You can decide if you want to put a seal on that folder, right? So now you have seals. Walrus is a whole ocean of craziness.
Good point.
Right. So, I think if you just take that's why I like the way some of the things that the naming convention as well, because like a seal right? Which is like an animal, but at the same, so that's the double entendre with the walrus, but it's also a seal, like, so you can choose to put the seal on the thing, or you don't, but when you seal it, that's when it has a certain level of security. So even the security is modular, so it gives you options.
Yeah. Sui means water in Japanese too.
Ah, that's dope. Be like water, like Bruce Lee.
Sui leaves. Yeah, Sui. Well, that
That's
or
the-
Japanese or is it
Not
Mandarin?
Japanese.
I don't know.
Is it Mandarin?
Cheese can verify that.
Probably Chinese, but
Let me see. We can look that up real quick.
Japanese is mizu is water.
So that makes sense of their logo being a water
Yes.
drop. You know, just being a drop of water.
Let's just look. What does
So she
mean?
asking Chat GPT right now what does sweet mean in
Alright.
the
Let's
Asian
see.
culture. Let's see.
Mizu or Sui, which means water.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the Chinese character.
So it's in
Okay,
Chinese.
okay,
So it
so-
means
Fluidity, scalability, adaptability.
yeah.
that's
So,
lit.
and obviously, most of your financial instruments represent water, and so a lot of the liquidity into these financial instruments will come through Sui. So it's very thoughtful.
Yeah, man, I like the double entendre.
Yeah,
Like,
they got double
like,
entendres.
you know, Just Cheese mentioned, you know, with the seal, you know, in the seal, the animal, and now you got walrus, and these are all aquatic animals. So hence, you know, Sui, their logo being that water drop. That's fly, yo. I like all of that. I like all of that. You know, and I was curious to know, well, to ask y'all, do y'all think any other popular NFT projects? Because we know Pudgy Penguins, they're linking up with Sui. But do you guys see? I know Tia mentioned Doodles, but do you
No,
think
I don't
maybe?
know. I
that's
just said it'd be dope.
Yeah, it would be
if
dope if Doodles. It would
That
be
is
dope
not
if
a real
Doodles.
thing. I'm just calling Doodles out. Like,
If they bust a move over there, you know, we won't be surprised. But yeah, what about like the Crypto Punks or Bored Ape Yacht Club? Do you see them, you know, taking some of their IP on that chain? Because we saw that happen a lot too in the last bull run with the NFTs. So there were Solana projects that moves to like Polygon and Ethereum, like the D-Gods and Utes, because those were originally on Solana. So, you know, you seeing some of these NFT projects, you know, going cross-chain. So any other NFT projects y'all can think that might bounce onto Sui, or any IP? Any IP? Think about any
I mean-
television IP or
I mean,
movie
Movie
IP.
Pass. Movie Pass is partnered with Sweet.
Sui. Yeah, that's
Oh,
out.
word?
That's out.
That's lit.
out.
That's lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a couple of projects that they're working on. One is the actual Movie Pass product itself.
Okay.
So being able to have like loyalty membership and have that on Sui. But then there's also they're gonna have a prediction market game that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
On Thursday. So you'll be able to basically, you'd be able to place your bets on like opening box office numbers, etc.
Like Polymart,
Yeah,
Polymart,
no
Yeah.
doubt.
but for movies.
Yeah.
That's lit.
So I have a different take. I've been watching like NFT market on Sui, and as well as like the meme culture on Sui since I got in, because I got in in the height of the meme, and I was like new market. You know, everybody's looking for new memes on Base and other platforms and stuff like that. So I that was my initial take, and I just don't really see DGen projects really taking off on Sui like that right now. I'm not saying it will, so that may be a deterrent for some of these projects. It's just because like that meme culture, that NFT culture, just hasn't had its rays in the sun yet, as it relates to this chain. Now DeFi and all these other more serious approach type projects, they're doing well, but it may be like with them introducing a gaming system, it might change that. But right now, like I've been looking for some DGen opportunities on Sweet, and they just have not really taken form.
So they more conservative. Okay, Sweet coming through, with the suit and tie, suited and booted. They not playing no games. They're not doing the DJing shit where
I need some of it
wearing
though.
wearing that same
I
hoodie for like a
think-
week in the basement. Not getting no sunlight. They ain't doing that.
I
Man.
think
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
smart. I think it's smart. I think the thing
Hold up, Cheese. Go ahead, Cheese. Let me
I
get you.
think the thing that has made Solana into the casino that it is pump fun.
That's
so
right.
There isn't a pump fund, hasn't been anybody's incentive to build that there on Sui, and maybe I don't know, maybe the architecture around launching tokens on Sui is a different one of Solana and EVM or Ethereum base, etc. Any other layer twos, right? So I'm curious too. I mean, I think I don't despise token launchers, which is why I do look forward to seeing one eventually on Sui just to see what it feels like. But yeah, I would say that's partially why, because there's not those type of tools yet that are people or the culture really. I think there is a culture thing that happens on different chains.
That's a fact, though. Man, I appreciate everybody's commentary on that, y'all. And we started in reverse because we usually start with like the political stuff, some of the more crypto regulation.
Yeah.
We kind of went in reverse, but Tia started off cooking, with the Sweet, slush event that we happening at ABC next week. Well, this up and coming Friday. So we went into the Sweet story. So, it's cool though to switch it up. You know what I mean? We gonna be a little spontaneous around here. So so let's start. What we usually do is talk about, some kind of crypto regulation. All right. I thought this was interesting. Let's talk about what Arizona's governor is doing. But I appreciate everybody in the sweet commentary, yo, because that was dope. That was thorough, y'all. I hope y'all, again, we gotta give y'all a disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So you can get right in Web3. All right. So Arizona's governor, Katie Hobbs, has vetoed Senate Bill 1025, which would have allowed the state to invest up to 10% of its treasury in pension assets in Bitcoin and other digital assets. The bill was aimed to make Arizona the first U.S. state to hold Bitcoin as part of its financial strategy. Okay, so Hobbs rejected the measure, citing a preference for proven investment strategies to protect the state's retirement funds. So Arizona now joins states like Oklahoma, Montana, and Wyoming in failing to pass similar crypto initiatives, even as North Carolina advances its own. I talked about the North Carolina introducing their own bill to have a Bitcoin reserve. So yeah, I'm noticing some of these states are actually, rejecting a Bitcoin reserve, and some of them are embracing it. So it might take a little bit longer than we anticipated, because I had asked the people who pulled up to ABC Thursday, what's the timeline do you think, we'll have all 50 states with their own Bitcoin reserve? And some people set up to like 5 to 10 years. So yeah, I can definitely see that more so now, especially with some of these less educated, powerful politicians who got the right to veto, because this was the governor who vetoed this. And maybe she just wasn't fully educated on this, or maybe she just want to wait for regulation. So I gotta ask my co-host, what's your thoughts on this governor vetoing this bill that would allow, up to 10% to be invested in people's pensions?
I think that veto is going to be short-lived. I personally feel like once this thing really gets to popping off like fish grease, they're going to be changing legislation faster than during COVID. That's it.
Good point.
Yeah, I agree with that. At the end of the day, there needs to be a stimulant that pushes more people to do it, more states to do it. and that stimulant hasn't arrived. So those that are looking at doing it, they see some value immediately, which is why they're taking action. Those that are hesitant, they're waiting for you're either proactive or you're reactive.
That's right. Good point.
One more thing. Stand with crypto. You know what y'all need to do in Georgia. El Presidente. Hope you healing. I hope you resting. Because we got work to do. Because these other states is tripping. Clearly. So, it'd be nice if we go ahead with these midterms coming up. Go ahead and put that pressure on our elected officials. Because we don't want this to happen in Georgia. That's it.
Good point. Good point. And definitely big up to Stand with Crypto. You know, they've been a supporter of thecryptocrew.com. That's my website, y'all, where y'all can get that crypto news. So tap into that. So yeah, definitely big up to Stand with Crypto and our guy Ant Mathis, man, for what he's doing, just educating the people and our politicians about what's going on with Web3, blockchain, and AI. So I appreciate everybody's commentary on that. And let's talk about the next story, y'all. The next story, we got two requests. We got two requests, though. Before we move on to the next story, we got Blue. We got our fellow ABC resident, Blue, and our guy, Larry Moore, a.k.a. Playing Profit with that Crypto A to Z. We got both of them up on stage, so we want to hear from them. Ladies first. So we're going to let Blue, go ahead. Blue, the floor is yours. How you doing, Queen? We appreciate you tapping in today. All right, Blue. I'm gonna send you another invite, and until we can get her up, Playing Profit, the floor is yours, brother. How you doing? Appreciate you tapping in today.
I'm doing good, man. How y'all doing?
I'm great, brother. Appreciate you tapping in. What's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts?
I appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all for the consistency and the work y'all doing. Episode 64. So shout out to y'all.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, as much as I love Bitcoin, she made the right decision. And the reason I would say that is because when you look at what the Bitcoin was going to be used for, like we're purchasing Bitcoin. Can you say again? They wanted to add it to, what was it, retirements and something like that? What
Basically,
was that?
they were going to take 10% of their treasury, right?
Mm-hmm.
And up to 10% of their treasury and put that into assets like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
Okay, cool. So at this stage, Bitcoin is still such a volatile asset that when you talking about a state treasury that may be funding people's retirement, social security, whatever the case may be, Bitcoin has had declines of 50, 60, I think 73% in 2022, right? And so when you're talking about state funds and you're talking about funds that affect people's lives, you can't risk investing that type of money on what is still considered or what is still such a volatile asset. Because imagine if you put 10% of your treasury into this and that money is supposed to go to fund different things for different people, and then Bitcoin drops 45%. And it accumulates for another year or 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that that's going to happen, but these are things that you have to really consider when you're dealing with those types of funds. And so I think her thinking behind it, I agree, because it's such a volatile asset that it wouldn't be fair to use that type of money from a state treasury that supports people, that pays for medicine, that pays for whatever it pays for, and you literally could be subject to a 35-40% decline. Let's say you happen to buy it at the top, you know what I mean, and then it drops 40%. You're not like a MicroStrategy or a VC or, people who may be dollar cost averaging, if you put that 10% in it, and then you're not in a situation like a country like El Salvador where, it's a whole different social economic situation that they're dealing with. That currency is hella unstable. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, I think that's kind of the underlying reason why a lot of these states are not pulling the trigger on it. But I think it's still showing us, the potential of where we're headed. And I think as it becomes a less volatile asset, then you'll have, more states get involved, but it's a really tricky situation, and it's something that, it's just a you don't want to be in that situation where you put that money in there and it's supposed to be going to certain people's pockets at a certain time. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? If somebody is retiring, if somebody needs medical assistance, if somebody's trying to draw their Social Security, it's going to end up costing you more because now you're going to have to supplement that profit loss to still be able to give them what you promised. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's kind of like the reason why, they're still kind of hesitant, and I think they will continue to be hesitant. I think that 5 to 10 year timeline that you were talking about is pretty spot on. Now, it's not to say that Bitcoin won't be $500,000 a coin by then, but the volatility has to get a little less, and that only can happen as more liquidity flows into the asset. So those are my thoughts on that.
Great points. Great points. Valid concerns, extremely valid concerns. If these states buy the top, let's say this cycle by the end of this year, beginning of 2026, Bitcoin hit 250,000, 300K, and these states get FOMO and they buy the top, like you said, and then we know the following couple of years it's going to be a crazy drop off. That's a great point that you're making, man. Thank you for that commentary. Blue, you got your hand up. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with my brother who just spoke. But I also feel that there's some other underlining pieces to that. I think you'll see certain states move with Bitcoin because their governance understands how this moves. And also, Arizona then has to reveal the fiduciary responsibilities they have over those public assets, making it transparent. Elon has already, as crazy as my dude is, and as much as I want to choke him, he is also telling us what the government is spending and splurging on that we already knew about. They're kind of using that as a gas screen, like a cover. But they have to be transparent. Nobody's using tornado cash. And so if I want to go to Israel or if I want to go to Jamaica on the government dime, I can't really move like that. Elon said when he asked them to just tell him what they wanted to use the funds for, they no longer asked for it. You know what I'm saying? So to Larry's point, and then to also the transparency of it in the game. You know what I'm saying? It would make more sense to have a reserve that's not attached to all those funds.
Great point.
That would make sense.
Great point. Great concerns. We appreciate both of those thoughts from, some very knowledgeable people in this space, man. And also, we got Be Wise. Be Wise, what's going on, brother? Haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? Hope everything's good with you. We appreciate you tapping in. The floor is yours.
Everything good. I'm still hanging in there all the way. But
that's great to hear, brother.
Blue and Larry, was it Larry?
Yes, sir. Playing Profit.
Yeah, they Playing Profit, right? They both echoed my sentiments exactly because these folks are looking at the fact that there's a bear market coming, and they kind of scared. They were in their corner. If they're gonna play with people's money like that, I think they really gonna need some experts in their corner, like Trump got his little team of crypto gurus around him to really be able to take profits and to make that thing count. Because if not, then you're playing with a lot of people's assets and retirement funds, and it gets sticky like that. So I was just gonna echo that before the other two people did, but everybody's on the same thought wave when it comes to that.
That's right, man. We appreciate everybody's commentary on that. NFTia, she got some thoughts on this. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I hear everybody, and I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I know we got a lot more to cover. But I still disagree because they already invest in those state funds and risk on assets and retirement funds. It's the amount that they use to invest in those risk on assets, i.e., the stock market, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so, if they're allocating 10%, they didn't say all 10% to Bitcoin, but what if they did like and that's where the strategy, I don't think she just blocked the shot completely. She just blocked the strategy. So what if the strategy needs to be fine-tuned? More so like, hey, let's go 50% of this into Bitcoin. Let's stake it, right? And the rewards that we earn from staking it, that's what we'll be able to use as liquid cash flow to be able to do other things or buy more bonds or to level it out. Or let's go have stable coin stake, let's go have Bitcoin stake. And those rewards will be, part of the profit margins that our state fund has. And it lightens the volatility. But they already, if they have 10% in the stock market right now, the stock market went down 30%. You know what I'm saying? So you already invested in risk on assets. Mm-hmm. So why not if you're going to put that type of pressure on our state fund, why not invest in the fastest horse, in the most secure horse? And we all know that Bitcoin is one of the greatest financial instruments ever invented in history. You have to have some type of exposure.
Oh, man. See, this is what I like. I love when we have two sides of the coin that everybody sees. I love different perspectives. We love the contrast in views. So I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. So yeah, man. Everybody cooked on that. Both sides made great points. Great points, y'all. Thank y'all for that. So, with that being said, we're gonna mosey on to the next story, y'all. And I thought this was pretty dope because Apple, they've been strong arming these developers when it comes to launching anything on their platform with that 30% fee. So we got some good news for the developers, all right? So US App Store, all right? Apple's App Store, all right? It now allows, these companies to launch these apps without 30% fee, all right? So here's the thing. The company that did this was Epic Games. So Epic Games, they scored a major win against Apple in court, with the judge ruling that Apple must allow U.S. app developers to include external links or buttons for purchases, bypassing Apple's 30% fee. This change could boost crypto adoption in the App Store by enabling apps like OpenSea and MetaMask to offer direct NFT and token transactions without workarounds. While Apple plans to appeal, it has already updated its U.S. App Store rules to comply. The rule stems from Epic's 2020 lawsuit after Apple banned Fortnite for bypassing its payment system, but the game is now set to return to iOS next week. All right, Just Cheeze, I know you be vibe coding, but you understand the technical aspect of being a developer and launching stuff, on this Apple App Store. And, with now people such as yourself, developers, coders, engineers, they can launch these apps without 30% fee. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? What's your thoughts, brother?
I think it's a small change, but necessary change. For Apple, they're trying to play friendlier with the wider ecosystem now, right? And that's great. But I think why I say it's a small start is because the architecture of the phone is the architecture of a cell, like of the current mobile devices, right, are not crypto friendly anyway, right? So even if if you have a wallet, the assets of the wallet and the device are still Apple's, right? So some way, shape, or form, they can utilize this as opportunity for them to monetize off of that NFT data that you now, that they now allow you to hold on their phone, right? So if you had like a phone that is like a private block, is like a personal wallet, and you can move assets in and out. I mean, like you do a ledger, but more secure. And then now you really have control over your own assets. So I know this is not necessarily a conversation of, wallet architecture and such. I know this is more a conversation about, developers being able to earn off their in-app monetization, which is good. So I said generally this is good for the space and invites innovation, but there's still a lot more innovation to go.
Great points.
I'm gonna be brief as well with this. I just think it behooves Apple to, and I know there's knowledgeable people at Apple that's very well versed in Web3, right? And I just think it behooves them to go ahead, like they've always, like, Apple has been a technology company since I have known technology, since I was in kindergarten. The first computer that I've ever touched was an Apple. They have been able to innovate consistently throughout history with the times. And so I don't expect them to do anything different than to be able to adapt to what's going on with technology. Now, with that being said, they're going to have to loosen up on some of those handcuffs that they have as it relates to control of their users, because that is it directly it directly goes against the grain of what Web3 is. And in doing so, like, this is a system where it rewards its users more than it takes. So they're going to have to flip that switch in their programming to go to get with the times of this third iteration of the web, in order to be successful with this next generation of technology.
Man, great points. Great point. Good way to sum it up. So yeah, Apple, get with the program, man. Step it up, man. Y'all should have been had a Web3 phone, built-in wallets, all of that. And you need to have that hub as your home screen browser for your Web3 apps. You heard? Big up the Travis Dap Hub.
Big ups to Dap Hub.
Yeah. So, man, I thank all my co-hosts, both my co-hosts, for their thoughts and commentary on this. Blue, you got your hand up, Queen. Floor's yours.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Apple is in a privacy war. They won part of the privacy war, but this really hit them because they already have an NFC plan to roll out, and then they're already integrating Apple Pay to accept crypto, and they're going to be rolling out NFTs as well. And they're supposed to be doing a program with the headset, like NFTs for Apple Vision or whatever it is. So
that makes sense.
I'm very happy that they didn't win this war, but they didn't win this war because of the actual president.
Good point.
And who is the actual president? The guy who owns the platform we're talking on.
Hot take. Elon, man, you better not rug us this week, man.
Because if you put we don't have time for it right now, but if you put the play together, the people who was his competition, he now was able to get in place to put.
Yeah, you're right.
He backed off of. He said, "Look, I'll make a promise. I won't talk about crypto. We'll talk about AI. and I'll wait till I get in my position. Same thing of why he doesn't have to report that when his cars kill anybody anymore.
Damn.
Like, he's in a position to change rules.
Yep.
And so Apple was his main competitor, right? And so him, AWS, all of these dudes said, guess what, Apple? It's our turn now. So I don't want to get too much into it, but like, if you put all these pieces together, you look at what's happening, and you look at what Elon's doing behind the scenes, and then you look at what he's tied to for his businesses, and just put it all together.
Yo, you cooked on that one. Yo, matter of fact,
kitchen.
I'm gonna have to drop
Kitchen.
some air horns on that one. I'm gonna have to drop some air horns on that, man, because you cooked on that, man.
You went into the commercial kitchen with that one, boy.
Word, we appreciate that commentary, Blue. See, that's why I love my people in this space, man. They so witty, they so thoughtful, and they so so on point in this space, man. You know, they come with different ideas and thoughts that, stuff you may not even thought of, but now it makes me look at this whole play differently now, and Apple is trying to create their own electric car too, so they did it that. So yeah, that was a great point, Blue. I appreciate that. So yeah, y'all, speaking of people in the White House, we gotta talk about the guy who was elected president. We know Elon Musk got a lot of influence on Trump, but I thought this was fucking hilarious, yo. Now, Cheeze, I sent you a couple of links, all right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 links I sent. One of them is the actual article. The other 2 are the tweets directly from the White House's X/Twitter account. This is fucking crazy. He got some real degens around him, I swear to God. So Trump sparked controversy recently, particularly among Catholics, after posting an AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope days before the conclave is to elect a new one. So now the image was shared on Truth Social first, and then later reposted by the White House on Twitter, aka X, shows Trump in papal robes, seated solemnly, with his finger raised. It follows remarks where Trump joked he'd like to be the Pope and praised New York's Cardinal Dolan, all right, Tom Dolan, a known conservative, all right. So the post prompted backlash from Catholic leaders and conservative groups who called it disrespectful and offensive to the faith. Cardinal Dolan criticized the image, but stopped short of demanding an apology. So they're buddy. So he ain't really called him out like that. But man, yo, that was one of the most degen things I've seen. So they kind of doubled down. They doubled down because today, big up to all my Star Wars fans. At the end of this session, I'm gonna post my own stormtrooper that I got, on the blockchain. Big up to Vivi. So I'm gonna post my stormtrooper. I'm gonna put him in AR. He gonna be right here next to the ABC sign. So if you're watching us on Twitter and Instagram, that shit gonna be a treat for y'all. And YouTube. So today is May the 4th. So this is a big Star Wars day. So May the 4th be with you. May the Force be with you. Okay? Yo, they did another AI image of Trump, all right, talking about all of the forces that he's against, all the negative shit that he's against. And then he even mentioned the Sith, which is the negative, the dark side of the Force. And the dark side, all of the people on the dark side got the red lightsabers. So as he's talking about, he's trying to be, pro, patriotic and all American and getting rid of all of the negative shit, they AI'd him with a fucking red Sith Lord lightsaber. So that tells you something right there. He's really on his fucking dark side. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't even take the shit down. So with all the controversy with AI images in Trump, the White House, their own fucking personal Twitter account is just fucking retweeting all of the shit. And it's fucking hilarious to me, man. They missed the mark on that. So, man, Trump, you gotta get your DGen committee in AI and Web3 around. You gotta get them right, y'all. You gotta get them right, because that was fucking hilarious, yo. I gotta ask my co-hosts, what's y'all thoughts on these crazy AI images? And they've been missing the mark lately with them. What y'all think?
Um, I think there's some underlying meaning to it, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Not only with the Pope dying at such a unique time. I'm a conspiracy theorist, and last time I did my not conspiracy, but I started going deep down my rabbit hole. They
rugged us.
86 they rugged the show. So I'm gonna be very very vague when I talk about this, but I'm not gonna go down my conspiracy theorist rabbit hole. But I personally think that there is a lot of significance with the Pope dying and with Trump going on here and the White House showing, because they have already been making so many political statements um, throughout his first, what is it, 120 days. We had 125 days. Like they have been raising a lot of hell. No pun intended. They've been raising a lot of hell. And I think this was a direct message to the powers at be, personally, that choose wisely.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Hot take.
for me, I'm a say let them cook, man. Let them cook.
So you like the AI images, man?
No, it's not that I like them. It's that so they had back when the let them cook was a popular phrase like a month and a half ago. That was the phrase, and they posted on the White House account, let them cook. Right, but they've been doing this for a minute, even when they try to have some social commentary around the immigrant situation. But the reason why I say let them cook is because it's setting new precedent, right? Just like when Trump was in office last time, he was using Twitter, right? A lot of time, it set a new precedent for the next president in line to at least be vocal on Twitter, right? Joe Biden wasn't as erratic as Donald Trump was, but you saw that there was, post, right? And erratic or not, like it's a communication layer, right? And that's why I look at these tools that Meta AI just released a social media for AI, social media network just for AI.
Wow.
Right, so you can just go on Meta AI, and anything you prompt, you can share it as content to that network. So, if I now invite people to basically, be commentary, be peanut gallery, bring the peanut gallery to your, so if you prompt a story, you can publish it as an article, right to the feed, right? Or you can even, if you have the Meta AI glasses, which I have, you can record your conversation with the AI and publish that as a post on the feed.
Wow.
Right. So I'm gonna try that home. I'm gonna try that out when I go home. But the point I'm making is this is the technology and the use of the technology more than it is him specifically. This is his use of it. But if it was somebody else, not him, I think the world would be having a different reaction. So I think that's what really makes it the reaction that people are having, right? He's just communicating, it's like when people, it's a meme. It's all it is a meme, right? When we all put the same meme up about something, we have the Spider-Man meme, and then we take the Spider-Man meme and reuse it in different contexts, right? You got different brands put their brand logos on top of the Spider-Man meme, right? So you have Apple pointing to Microsoft, and you have so they're just doing it's a Spider-Man meme right? And it allows for people to do the whole comparison to one another. Like you pointing at me, when J. Cole and Drake were on the same track, he's like, "Yo, we just a Spider-Man meme," right? So that's all it is a Spider-Man. It's a meme. It's a communication layer, and that's what made the Republican Party very successful this time around because they leveraged the communication. Like podcasts and newsletters are very, very prominent forms of communication nowadays, and they got Donald Trump on all the heaviest runs of podcasts, right, and streamers, right. So you can't neglect the tooling that is available, right. I'm not picking a party here. I'm highlighting the tools.
Good point, man. That was a hot take, man, but that was a good point. People gonna use these tools, man, and I mean, shit. The man tried to overthrow the government on January 6th when he lost an election. So a meme maker, he's like, what the fuck y'all gonna do if y'all can't impeach me? You know what I mean? Like, y'all ain't gonna do anything crazy over a meme.
Shoot me.
You know what I mean? Can't kill me. Like, he's damn near the Teflon Don at this point. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Pun intended.
Little meme, a little meme culture ain't gonna hurt nobody, man. I thought it was fucking hilarious that the White House has such a big sense of humor with this. You know what I'm saying? Because he's pushing the envelope. So you can imagine any other controversial thing that happens in the culture. Yeah, he's probably gonna have a Trump AI meme about it. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought it was kind of funny, yo. So yeah, I appreciate everybody's thoughts and commentary on that, man. So yeah. This last story, I thought it was super interesting. Who watches that show Black Mirror on Netflix? Anybody a fan of Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Got to sit out of this.
So
I don't watch
check
TV.
this out. An official Black Mirror cryptocurrency is launching alongside an interactive experience called the Black Mirror Experience, powered by KOR protocol and backed by big names like Animoca Brands and Avalanche. At its core is Iris. Big up to Iris Nevins, yo. She pregnant too. At its core is Iris, a virtual AI assistant that tracks users' online and crypto activity to assign a reputation score, determining access, influence, and rewards, mirroring the show's theme of surveillance and social ranking. Users earn tokens and perks based on how they engage, track via a social media ID NFT that logs their behavior. The project has already issued over 1,300 IDs and teases upcoming features like AI coaching, gamified quests, and on-chain wagering. While the token's blockchain hasn't been revealed, users must link an Ethereum or Solana wallet and their X accounts to participate. All right. So basically, Black Mirror token turns social credit into a crypto game. All right. So I think that's super dope. But I don't know about, this might be two sides of the coin on this too, because I don't know about having, any more things tracking my social activity, but if you can get rewarded for this, I don't know. Some people might change their minds on giving up some of their personal, activity that they do online. So it's going to be tracked via a social ID NFT. So I think that's dope. But, what do you guys think about your social credit score being observed and getting rewarded for that? What do you guys think about that? Who want to go first?
I don't watch the show. I don't watch the show. I have no contact.
So this is funny. Like, Black Mirror is an interesting show because I've seen every episode from season 1.
So this is right up your alley.
So this is like season 6 that we're on now. So I thought this news was initially about the game that they launched with the current season. Mm-hmm. So on one episode of this current season, there is this is why I like Black Mirror, because it mirrors some of the stuff that could happen or is happening today. and it questions like where we're going with this technology, and it allows you to look at a future that is potentially, real. There's one episode where we end up where it showcases the future of us, voting for a AI as president, but the AI is like the AI is a character, right? And it's running against a human for president, right? But you can watch the show later. This though specifically was actually an episode. I didn't recognize that until we had this conversation. But the episode, let's talk about the episode, right? So in the episode, what makes this potentially, I'm gonna have to look at this. I'm actually gonna get this app and use it. I don't know.
So you're gonna do a cheese?
But I don't have any people to rate. So the way the app works is you go around, the way the show worked, maybe the app is a little different, but the way in the show, basically you go throughout your day, if you see somebody and you say hi, instead of saying hi, you just swipe up, and then you give them 5 stars. So imagine like you Uber rating everybody. Right? So I walk into the room, and if you don't say hi to me, I'm gonna go in the app and be like, yo, 3 stars.
That's kind of slick. That's kind of slick.
Kind of slick.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. My mean mugging sisters, we.
So imagine walking into the room and then your app just keeps buzzing, and everybody's like, "Yo, I'm getting a lot of 1 stars."
You're a fucking asshole. That's
then
what that means.
Everybody, you start feeling this type of pressure, and you look around and you're like, "Yo, y'all got something wrong with me?" And you might want to approach somebody and be like, "Yo, how you doing? Nice to see you today." And then if the person don't give you 5 stars, what you gonna do?
Low rating, man. Like
no, because that's what happened in the episode. So what happened was this girl. There's a centralized notion that's still here, right? There is this group of people who are the top 5 stars.
Okay.
And they throw the dopest parties.
Okay.
Dang.
Right? And you gotta be a 5-star member to get there, right?
Okay.
And they also, so her friend, from high school, was a 5-star, and she called her one day, and it's a very, very interesting episode because everywhere you go, like she was going about her day, and she was a solid 3.7.
Damn.
Right? So basically, you live your life, you have your score, right? But what they have throughout the world is these, just like you go to H&R Block or you go to somewhere like that, you go to this place and they basically, you can sit down with the person and you can be like, hey, I got a 3.7, and they can say, well, here's the type of services that you can get at a 3.7. You can live here. You can.
It's literally like
party,
a credit score.
You can party. Yeah, well, that's what it is. You can
Social
party.
credit.
You can party here, or you can shop here. That's all really. And then you can have a conversation with the person, and you say, well, I'm actually looking to buy a house over there. And then they say, well, those are reserved for these people, right? So then what they do, the episode actually does, is like you can check this person, you pay this person, and they give you a report card and a schedule or process to upgrade your score. So that's the AI.
Oh, wow.
That's the AI they're talking about, right? The AI would basically say, hey, you should probably do XYZ now to improve your score. So now in the show, she goes about trying to be nicer to people, and she starts getting her score up, and she gets to like 4.4, right below it. And then her friend hits her up, and she hits up her friend. She's like, hey girl, I'm gonna be able to make it to the wedding now. I'm a 4.5. I'm gonna be there. And the friend's like, oh, I'm so glad because I want you to speak at my wedding. So she's like, yeah. She's so hype. Her boyfriend is a 2.
Damn.
So her boyfriend is like, girl, I don't know why you like so hype about trying to go to this thing, and she's like, I can't deal with you. You are too. You know,
Damn.
and
I need to watch it. Now you got me ready to watch it.
that's one of my favorite episodes. But she she starts bugging out, but the complex starts to happen around the rest of the show, the second half of the show, right? So she is on her way to the wedding, and she starts hitting a stream of bad luck, right? She has her plane ticket ready to hop on a plane, but she starts hitting a stream of bad luck, right? She accidentally hit this guy as she was walking, and she said sorry, but the guy didn't really like that, so she downrated him.
So her rating started to go down on the way out there.
She started falling apart.
Damn.
And it started falling apart heavy. Like she even got to the boarding. She was about to board the flight, and the person behind the desk was having a hard time finding her ticket. She was like, "Hey, miss, can you hurry up? I'm trying to make it on this flight."
Damn.
And she was like, the person was like, "Excuse me."
Oh yeah.
Down, and it's like, oh shit, like it's like, sorry, I didn't mean to shout at you. And she's like, and so she just starts falling apart. I just need to, and she's like, so people behind her now see her attitude going off, downvote her again.
Damn.
So now she's just getting downvoted by everybody. She's like, hey guys, can you please just upvote me? I need to get on this flight, because now she misses the flight, right? Because of that. And there is a next flight. She calls her travel agency the next flight, but now her score is so low she doesn't even qualify to be even placed on the waiting list.
All right, so Cheese, you ain't tell nobody spoiler alert, because it sounds like you about to get into the spoiler alert section.
I mean, spoiler alert. This episode is like 6 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now, it's too late. Too bad for you.
You gotta catch up.
Yeah, catch up. The point that I'm trying to make is this type of game, in reality, is kind of trippy. And the point that happened to her is that she wasn't even qualified to fly on a plane anymore. So what she had to do was go rent a car, right? But the car required a certain level of score to be able to use the station. Where if you want to use the electric station, you got to have a certain score. So she just didn't have the score to do much. So she ended up hitchhiking with some lady who doesn't believe in this credit score bullshit. She's a 1. She's happy about her one life. She drives. she's a trucker, right? And that's it. So she eventually made it to the wedding after all that headache, and she looked a mess because she was in her dress. Hitchhiking through all, she gets there, she breaks into, security wouldn't let her in, obviously, because she's not a 5, she's not a 4.5 anymore. And so she sneaks into the wedding, makes her way to the speech, and everybody's looking at her like, because everybody can like see the score. It's like, yo, who invited this bitch here?
Yeah, that's funny.
And she's looking a mess. She gets on the stage and she grabs the mic and says, "Hey guys, I finally here. I'm supposed to speak at the wedding." And they don't. And her friend who invited her is like, "No, you need to get off. I don't want you here. Why are you here? You're not popping. You need to leave." So it just falls apart. But she even ends up like threatening to kill herself.
Damn.
On the stage if they didn't let her talk and get her point out. But at the end of the day, you just watched the entire thing of her deteriorate just from this social credit score. So I'm actually interested in putting it on my phone and see what happens.
I'm about to be rating all the cameras.
So all the Black Mirror feds, I hope Just Cheeze ain't give away no spoilers for y'all, man. But
if you a fan, you should have been done seeing this episode.
this is funny as hell. I never see any Black Mirror episodes, but it was hilarious, man. Cheese went through the whole episode. Yo, just to tell y'all, man. Yo, man, make sure you be nice. Just be fucking nice, man. You know what I'm saying? Courtesy goes a long way to people, man. So in the future, you never know. We might have a social credit score, but
China has one.
that was China definitely has one, but that shit was hilarious. I saw my guy playing Prophet with his hand up. I'm gonna invite him to speak, put him up on stage, see what his thoughts is. Cause that was funny as hell, man. So now I'm interested in seeing. I might just watch that one episode just to watch it, see how
We
they
can put it
did.
on here.
Oh man, that was hilarious. So, playing Prophet, the floor is yours, brother.
Joe made a good point. That's where we're headed. But I think somebody mentioned something about let him cook.
No doubt.
As much as this stuff is whatever it is, like we are so cooked as human beings, bro. Like
Damn.
the stuff that we about to see happening and the reasons behind it, it's gonna be crazy, bro. Like absolutely crazy, because technology is gonna put too much power into the hands of too many different types of people, and the ability to reason and act from a place of like integrity and honesty and like love is out the window. Like this is about to be, and that's my only thing. I'm all for technology. However, it's gonna put it into everybody's hands, and so it's almost like Just Cheeze said. If you having a bad day, that's one of my gripes against complete decentralization. If you're trying to get a protocol through and somebody having a bad day, they could vote no just because they mad.
That's
like
right.
it's to tie your social credit or your value, and then that has real world utility, where now, because I feel like that's where we're headed. Like it's gonna be like social zones, where it's like if you haven't paid your tickets or you got such and such and such, you're not gonna be able to come in certain areas. Just like how the police do certain areas now, everybody know about that because of how you grew up.
That's
like
right.
it's certain neighborhoods where the police presence is crazy.
Yep.
You get pulled over just for driving over there. Like, why are you over here? You don't belong here. That same way of function is now going to be on chain, and it's going to be way more enforceable because of technology. Like, I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie Out of Time with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
When the time, like however much time you have,
Time was like
that
money.
lets you into certain areas or whatever. That's all I'm saying. Like it's a two-edged sword, and it's interesting because the people creating the technology are going to benefit financially, so they will not be subject to the other side of it. That's the interesting thing about a lot of this stuff. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's cool. Even the people who created it are saying we cooked. You know what I'm saying? But they not going to be the ones who suffer from it. So I just think it's interesting where we headed as a society.
I mean, the other thing to consider too, based on what I'm looking at here, is I'm looking at it right now. It's backed by Niantic, and Niantic, they did Pokemon Go.
Yep.
So that everybody.
And guess who owns Niantic?
Well, no,
Not owns it.
Not owns it.
Not owns it, but guess who? Not owns it. Not
They
owns
partner
Niantic.
with it.
Partner.
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Niantic, they had everybody running. Niantic had everybody running into the street trying to catch Pokemon.
Nah, great points, man. Great points. Oh man, we had a new listener. I brought him up on stage, but he must have had stage fright. You know what I mean? Because maybe he got an important phone call. But man, those were some great concerns. Hopefully, we won't get to that point where it's a social credit score, and then now it's literally classism through how you are just interacting with people throughout your life and your day. That's crazy. But man, today, man, it was a dope episode, man. It was a dope episode, man. I appreciate everybody's thoughts, everybody commentary, everybody tapping in on YouTube, everybody tapping in on IG. Man, this episode 64, man, and we rocking and rolling, man. This weekend was real phenomenal. Man, we went to that bookstore, so be on the lookout for some promo ads we're gonna have once we get everything in order because we definitely gonna make a great presence during Atlanta Tech Week. So we got about, probably about like 5 or 6 weeks to get everything in order. Man, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to going to more art shows, whether just being somebody going there to view the art or entering my art in it. I'm looking forward to that. ABC got some new shirts I'm cooking up, version 2. Man, I'm happy, y'all. I'm real happy. I'm real happy about where we're at in this space because we all are cooking. We all working on shit. We got that event next week at ABC. The slush wallet event with Sweet. So Tia, I don't know if you want to just wrap up with that because you got the shirt Just Cheese. I just noticed he had the Walrus Scully on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I should have wore my Sweet shirt today.
Nah, man. Yeah, just to recap, next Friday the 9th from 7 to 11, we have Slushed ATL, an adult slushy interactive activation on the Slush wallet. Be there or hear about it. And if you know anything about any of the last events that we've had here, they were epic and you do not want to miss them. And I did want to clarify, Niantic is owned by Google. We have Sweet has a partnership with Niantic. Other than that, though, episode 64 of the TCK show, man. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all here with us, and y'all know we appreciate that. Cheese?
Yeah, come on out on Friday. We're gonna have some quests, have some awards, right? It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be a lit time. Bookstore gallery, planning that out. Hopefully, we can have a flyer for that out by the end of this week. Start promoting because it's about a month away. But yeah,
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Yo, I appreciate all of my listeners. We appreciate everybody's thoughts, everybody's commentary. Man, again, I'm your host, T.Gold, founder of the TCK Web3 News Roundtable. It's my co-host, NFTia, my other co-host, Just Cheeze. Tap into the website, thecryptocrew.com. I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of traction to the website now. I don't know what article did it, but man, I'm noticing the analytics went kind of crazy. So, yeah, we are looking for partnerships. So anybody looking to level up their Web3 knowledge in this space and you need a platform, yo, we here for y'all, man. So, we are taking applications for any negotiations, man. Whether it's any other blockchain outside of whether it's Sweet, whether it's Base, we got shout out Base too. Coinbase, stand with crypto. We gotta shout them out, man. We cooking out here, man. Big up to Marlon. Big up to the bar chef. He was out there at the Kentucky Derby. He got some thoroughbreds. So, he's out there, rubbing shoulders with the multimillionaires and the billionaires because those are the only people who really go out to the Kentucky Derby like that. So I hope he got some great connects out there. And hope he has some luck, man, racing those horses out there. Not his own personal horses, but he might have made some good bets on some horses out there. So, again, May 9th, this Friday from 7 to 11, pull up to ABC. It's your boy T.Gold. This episode 64. And because Just Cheeze went to that Currency concert this weekend, man, it's only right we leave on some Currency. And rest in peace to Prodigy. This is one of my favorite Currency songs off of that Covert Coupe that dropped in 2010. So this is some classic mixtape material right here. But yeah, we're gonna leave on that. We're gonna vibe out. I appreciate everybody tapping in on YouTube and Instagram. It's your boy T.Gold, NFTia and Just Cheeze. Thank you to Blue, Plan Profit, Be Wise for your thoughts and commentary. We appreciate Bobcat. Man, he came out to ABC. Actually, he came out to
the
event
last Friday.
Yeah. With your boy Just Cheeze,
What's up, Bobcat?
Jay Chains. Big up Jay Chains, man. We gotta big him up and big up Bobcat too. So big up everybody listening. Big up to the wonderful Crypto Elijah. Big up the Tone, yo.
Oh, and Stacy Larson, she from the Friday event. She hit me up, let me know that she was listening to us a little bit earlier as well. So definitely big up to you as well.
Yeah, man.
Not to call out your government.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody listening, everybody tapping in. Yo, we out. Peace. Let's go. It's that currency. Prodigy. Let's go.
Let the little homie kick it in the auto shop with us long as he can make stove runs and keep his mouth shut. Same way I came up, all my triple O's was hood famous. Nice guy surrounded by wolves, wild, dangerous. That's why I gained this cool. Walk this talk, trying to duplicate and make two. All you do is make fools of yourself. Underground jewels, chest the copper pot, wallet in a wishing well. Evidence niggas that fail, trying to get close to the jet code, but it would never be deciphered by a rookie pilot. That's why I sit opposite the driver, 63 Impala, bad bitch, chain steering wheel guidance. I'm out the window, sky watching, plotting as usual. That's what I'm doing when I'm quiet. Can't remember shorty name, but she had that loud pack the other night in Tallahassee, and I thank her for that. Fine freaking sending snaps with her legs behind her back in the wee hours of the morning. Picture mailing that she honing, but love, I'm trying to fuck with this money. We bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people that don't bury the axe. Hold up, we bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people cut this money, call those Regals. We bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people that don't bury the axe. Hold up, we bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people cut this money, call those Regals. Hey, bust raps like B-boys bust gas. Bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We them type of people that don't bury the axe. Like B-boys bust gas. We them type of people that don't bury the ass. Hold up. We bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We them type of people that this money call us Regals.
Hey, yo, Currency, let me hold you down real quick. That's right. Yo, Al, check this out right here. It's like this. You never heard this shit like this before. I said, we bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people that don't bury the hatch. We bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people Chevys and GMCs too. We bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people that don't bury the hatch. Hold up, we bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people Chevys and GMCs too. Fuck it, it's the life of a shooting star. Gotta move smart, can't get caught slipping. They all wanna see me fall. Take my punches like a trooper, take my losses like a man and come with the territory. Take the good with the bad, throw the dice, watch them tumble where they land. So big, everything is not strategic. Sometimes we risk our life, sometimes we risk our love, our money and our freedom. That bullshit we beat it to see if you gon' eat it in New York. We manipulate naive dummies, we beat you on the head. It's just game we be running sometime. But most of the time we don't play, they can't figure us out. We like it that way. The road to the riches so long, our feet catch blisters. All these crabs in the bucket pull you down, trying to get up. A man for theyself, a woman want bags and shoes. We the type of people that'll find you. Stop fronting, you're doing a lot of fronting right now. You know what I'm saying? Niggas come to your fucking crib. It's your doorstep, like good morning.
We bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people that don't bury the axe. Hold up, we bust raps like B-boys bust gas. We the type of people cut this money, call those Regals.
We bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people that don't bury the hatch. Hold up, we bust raps like we bust these gats. We the type of people Chevys and GMCs.